Okay, hello everybody. Hello, let's see. Okay. It looks like we are already just here. Okay. So we are just I was having some troubles with the modern current strings library, like the computer just drastically restarted. So basically I'm trying something that just a friend of mine just told me. He recommended me just to go with this thing and just select this in the memory tag. Just click this button here and just reduce the number here. I had like 60 kilobytes or something like that, and it's like I should just reduce 10 or 20 points that number. So let's see how this works now, because it's kind of aleatoric. So I apologize in advance if for some reason this just drastically stops. It means that my computer just restarted. So I don't know. I already contacted the Audio Bros support and sent them a video so they could see the problem overall, because I had also another problem with this other library in the ensemble patch, and I told them about both, and I'm waiting for their response. So hopefully they can see if anything is wrong and we can solve that. So in any case, these are great libraries, especially this one. I like it so much in terms of the sound and many of the things it offers. So if you are considering getting it, I would recommend it. So okay, I just I just introduced the library a bit in my template. Not really happy with the fact that they don't allow you to load individual articulations. Like you need to, yeah, of course I named them, I call them individual articulations, but the real thing is that you are loading the full interface, the full instrument with all the articulations every time. So I have them deactivated, and I will try just to see how I make it work. Probably I will just remove most of these things and just work with key switches, which I just don't like at all. But usually, for example, Berlin strings, if I load this, I know I have just the spiccato loaded. I only have that articulation. And it's the same in most of my libraries. So hello, this. Nice to see you here. So okay, let's just compose something. I don't know. Do you have any preference today? I have to do a track, but it's like adventure, energetic one. But I think that's something. Okay, I just can't do the same track here than for the client. Like the client wants it to be private, so maybe we can just. I don't know. Maybe what can we compose? What style can we compose? Maybe something like. Let me search for John Devaney, and I love this soundtrack by John Devaney. It's called Luck, and I think it's the track name Samantha's Theme. Let me. Okay, no, not this one. I'm just trying to. Let me. Yeah, I think it's this one. I will just share with you the link. Okay. Yeah. So Copy. Hello, 7 Tears of Hope. I was thinking of something like that, but if you want something uplifting, motivational, like epic music, you mean? We can create something like that, of course. You know, that's something I did quite a lot in the past. I just got a bit bored of that kind of music, but of doing it, I mean. But yeah, of course we can do that. So it's basically just getting a nice ostinato, a beautiful burn, if you like. I don't know, something. I don't know, that kind of like. What do you prefer? That kind of stuff, like epic, uplifting music, or maybe something more like this, which is probably more purely orchestral, more emotional, probably. Hello, what's here? Oh, and what you like? Okay, yeah, you know, I feel more like doing this stuff right now, but of course we can maybe do something more epic another day if you want. Of course we can go with that. Okay, so wait, I just don't remember how what was the style of this. Okay. Okay. Okay, yeah, I just remember that I love that kind of music, but I just didn't remember how. So you can try to compose something in style of Berserk. I see many people want epic emotional music. Honestly, this I'm not really used to anime. I didn't watch a lot. It's not something like, you know, I know some people that love anime, but you know, I never felt really interested, especially about it. It's like, of course, I just don't dislike it. It's something that, yeah, I can check, I can watch a film, a series. When I was a kid, actually, I like it more, but it's not something I'm really used to. So epic, dark orchestral music, epic, emotional. Okay, epic is a common word. Okay, so let's try something epic. So. Okay, so we can maybe, let's just put slower tempo maybe. Let me, okay. So I'm going just to work as always on the piano sketch first. Probably just get firstly the chords, okay, the chord progression we want for the main part, because probably I usually when I work on this kind of music I work firstly on the main idea, and then probably I go with the intro and interludes and things like that. So 4 6 1 5 progression. Okay, so you mean, I guess these are the grades in the scale. Like, for example, if we were in C major, for example, it would be like, you mean that? If that's the grade. Yes, I was thinking. So 6 4 second. I like that. You choose 2. Okay. So you mean you mean that, right? We can use that also in a part of the song maybe. I was going to let's see. I like that. Okay, not really. Yeah, usually the sus2 or sus4, exactly, they are great for creating tension. Or just, yeah, tension. To just delay the I don't know how to say, just when you want to finish but you go with a sus2 or sus4 or even both. Like, okay. Wait, let me activate this because that helps me go faster later. Okay. So what did I do before? I liked what I did before quite a lot. Okay, now I know. I think I know. I remember. And you mean okay? Yeah, more or less, you know. Okay, so these things. Okay, but this needs major key and okay. Anyway, I think we can make it work because we are here. We are using A minor as the main key, I would say. Here is C major, so they are relative. So okay, so okay, I'm going just to start with the intro. Okay, having these things clear more or less is just something I think we can allow. We can start with the intro. So for that, I'm going to load a new contact instance and maybe go with. Actually, let's go with Roth because it has some nice drones. These ones, I think. Oh, okay. The only thing is that I'm not sure about the keys here. These kind of sounds are amazing for intros and creating atmosphere. So let's go with that thing. 1, 2. I don't care about the length because now I'm going to tweak that. Okay, just looking at the time. Usually an intro in this style of music, usually, of course, goes between 30 and 40 seconds, more or less. Of course, you can find thousands of exceptions, but that's what I notice. It's probably the most common length for an intro in epic music, trailer epic music. Okay, so let's bounce this to audio. Okay, and let's call it drone of growth. So we have it here. Okay. Okay, I'm going just to open the audio editor. Let's just fade in so it doesn't start as aggressive as it does right now, and also just let's do a fade out. So I think here we are 38 more or less, a bit less because we won't start in the first beat. So I think it's a good point to start the fade out and probably just reduce the intensity. Okay, so also we can maybe just reduce the volume of this because it's a bit loud. And now let's add something else. No, I just want contact, a new contact instrument. Okay, probably we can go with Ashlight, maybe. I think this library has pretty cool sounds for intros and things like that. Okay. So okay, I think I had some favorite ones. Cold Keys is one of them, but Maybe too much. Also, it has some kind of pitch bend thing, so probably it's going to be entrance exit. I like that for uplifting music. It has a kind of pulse in the... So, okay. Okay, I just don't know what is the key of this drone thing. Let's see. Let's listen to this. Okay, it's C. It looks like C. So you know what happens? This is... I like the sound of this, but it's like too... I don't know, like invading too much of the space. So I'm not sure if maybe reducing the sound. So okay. Okay, let's see how can we maybe with Berlin strings Celli Spicaro. Something like that, maybe in the second part here. Look. Here. Yes, of course, but you know, we are in the intro, Ricardo. So intros are usually more soft, are softer maybe. Okay, let's record here. Then last chords, maybe some complex time signature. Yeah, you know, these kind of signatures like 7/8, I don't know if that's the way to say that in English, is something I use in action music a lot. because of it changes so much the feeling of it helps a lot with the feeling of movement. So, for example, okay, let me show you. Okay, I can really show you that because it looks like the OBS is not sending my internet audio from the computer, but I just created some music recently using 5/4 this kind of tempo signatures. This one and this one quite a lot actually. No, not this one, but um, okay, this one. Okay, I just didn't see it, and it helps a lot with the movement, with sense of movement. Yeah, of course. And also, how is the way I usually do that? I create, for example, here, for example, imagine I want here 7/4. Okay. So I think Cubase has a way just to program the different strength of the metronome volume in each of the clicks or something like that. So I think in Logic we don't have that. So I just usually do it. So for that I usually go with drum kit, for example, this one from Damage. Okay, and I find a couple of hits that are similar, but one is a bit bigger than the other one maybe, and I just go with playing like the metronome, So for example, I go with different tempos and okay, and yeah, and I just play the big hit in the strength, in the stronger parts of the measure, of the signal, of the time measure, of, for example, let's call this bigger, okay? So this is the normal one, and this is the bigger. So if I want, of course, I try to remember the thing, or just copy. If I want everything same, I just copy here, copy here, copy here, copy there. If I want 8 different bars, and now I have of course I quantize all of this so everything is perfect on time, and I use this as my own custom metronome which is always good if you want. Hello, Mr. Riroch. If you want something, for example, with the cello spiccato, and you want to work here, for example, with eighths, dun, 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 dun. So two notes per click, let's call it that way. I would do dun, dun, dun. It's a bit difficult at first until you get the idea clearly. I don't know, you usually find a pattern that works better, but I mean, this helps me a lot to identify the strength, the most important accents in an ostinato, in a phrase or something, and you can always play with percussion according to that. So for example, I don't know, if I go with epic music, I usually use Damage and similar libraries. Hello, Eris. So for example, let me see, where is damage? I always forget where I have damage. Let me see. Where is that? I just didn't see this. Damage. So for example, if I load this. Okay, one thing I usually do here is just reduce the decay, because it helps me a lot with the mix later. So for example, the Armageddon patch, as always, and I'm going just to see this for reference. You know, this is my metronome, okay? So one. And yeah, it sounds super basic. And of course, this is just the first layer, because we usually, when I create big percussion things, I work with lots of layers, lots of different layers. It's not like I try to play here in damage everything all together, but I prefer just to use different patches. So I have a bigger control later in the mix. So I have here, for example, this kind of big hits, big low hits. And now in this other, for example, I just duplicated the damage instrument, and I'm going to play now in a different patch, you know, different. And of course, you know, I usually don't do this. If I want something, let me see how to quantize this. Looks like 8, right? Okay. If I want something action music, usually I use much bigger, much faster music. So this usually is probably the double of it. So actually, this is a trick I use. I usually record things when they are super fast or quite complex, or I want them to feel complex. I usually just reduce the tempo and I work in a slower tempo, and then when everything is working nicely, I go up with the tempo. So the results are usually quite nice. And actually, we can just create this here. So, you know, it's like I just didn't have in mind composing anything specific. But these tricks are usually quite interesting in any case. So, okay. So, okay, this. But here, for example, this should be quantized in a different way, and I think this too. So these are okay, and this should be probably, I'm not sure. No, not that. Maybe this. No. Maybe it's just, I think it's that. That is. Yeah. So for example, if we now just create also another damage patch here. Of course, I usually try to name correctly everything. Okay. Let's copy this here just to double the previous part, and let's copy. Let's just something in the middle now. Okay, so I'm going back to the piano roll, and I'm going just to show the two damage patches we just created, and we are going just to do something in the middle. Okay, it disappears again. I don't know what's happening here. Okay, let me try to... Can you hear again? Because yesterday I got something... Now? You should be listening now. Just let me know, please, if you... Is it fine now? Okay, yes. I'm having problems lately with the program I use between OBEs and Logic. But I don't know why it just disappears sometimes. But finally I got a different one which seems to work fine, but I don't know. Okay. Anyway, so if you can listen now, everything is fine, I guess. Okay, so let's quantize this. I think this could be something like that. Of course, without our metronome. And as I said, if we go, for example, with much faster tempo, we were 88, now we are 170. Look what happens here. It's much more interesting, right? And of course you can tweak this and the volumes. You can, I don't know, maybe I want a crescendo from here to that point, so you just tweak that, you know? And theoretically it should have. Okay, let me just tweak that. Okay, I would just do this here. Yeah, okay. So, for example, not that one, is this one. Okay, if we want a crescendo here, we just go to that patch. I mean, I just selected these things and just made a crescendo. So and you can just work on all the details you want here in these things and just get pretty interesting results. And of course you can do this not just with the percussion, but also with everything else, you know, with telly in this case. So basically we just reduce the tempo when we want something complex and fast. And once this is working nicely, actually let's just double the telly. I think this should be okay. Not exactly, because we just recorded different. Let's actually record again the telly here. At 8, okay. So let's record the telly and just go. Oh, let's see. Oh, sorry. Okay. Let's record the telly. What did I do? What did I do? Okay, come on, I just got lost for a moment. Where is the telly? Here. Okay. And we are here. This is the... I'm going to activate the metronome and probably just mute the percussion right now. because probably it's going to be easier for me just to record with only the metronome we created, which is a drum kit. Okay, so and the and also someone just mentioned this. I think it was you. You just commented that maybe orchestral epic dark music. So something interesting for creating dark music is just go with third intervals of thirds and minor, like G minor, F minor, A minor, things like that. Like this chord. And of course you can just go down if you are in D minor. You can go to B minor, or it's G minor, E minor, C minor. This sounds dark usually. So let's go. I don't know, it's just an example, okay. So, for example, we have that recorded and we have a mistake here, which looks like it's this one. Okay, so if we want to record now the basses, for example, I will probably just accentuate the important parts that we have clear in the metronome here, in the click here that we created. So I'm just going to play these notes, but with the correct chord. So I'm going also to load in the piano roll the telly, because I can see here where are the changes in the chords. I more or less have clear the chord progression I used. So every time I see the basses, this note that I will remove later probably in the telly is a change of the chords. So let's go with the basses. I'm going to play octaves just to make it bigger. Okay. More or less, you know, I just made a few mistakes. I also detected some mistakes also in the telly towards the end. So these are the telly, and this is not good, but that's it. Okay, so if we just remove I mean mute the metronome. Okay, let me mute this and just unmute the percussion, and let's put again the tempo, for example, there. So we have this. Okay, but of course we need to control the volume of the different things. Like, for example, here I will probably just double the telly with Araya. This library is great for epic strings. I would say I use it quite a lot in trailer music. Also the basses probably are interesting to be doubled with that, but basses usually I'm going just to double the basses with Metropolis Arc 5. I think I love the short low strings here. They are super 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 sounds amazing. And they also have super wide dynamic range. It's like you can play super soft and you can make it sound super big. So that's amazing library. So now and of course, when you just start adding layering, like, of course, you can create violas parts, violins parts, and when you start adding brass and maybe choir doing spiccatos, this can sound really big and aggressive and epic and dark. So actually, for example, let's just create something for the violas. Let's reduce the tempo again, so we can play it correctly and without many fourths. I'm going just to mute again the percussion, which is probably distracting me, and I'm just going to leave the click we created, which is this one. Probably also the other strings parts, so I can see the changes in the chords. And let's see, for the violas maybe. And then I did F minor. Hello, Synthworks. Yeah, man, you usually look like worried when you can't be online. No worries, really. Nice to see you here. So something like that, maybe. Okay. Oh, I just thought I was going to change earlier. So just an example, okay. Okay, so let's go and double this with Areia, which are here, the violas. Well, this is the idea of this. I think you were not here when we just created this. It's just creating something action, dark, epic music. You know, that style, so we are working on that. And a trick I usually use, and not me but many people as far as I know, is just creating everything at a much lower tempo, around the half of the real tempo you are going to have, or just something where you feel comfortable creating these things. And you can this way make the passage much more complex than you would probably be able to play in the keyboard at a real time. And as we are working in a DAW, we can then just update the tempo and make it sound much epic and bigger. Okay, so let's load now violins. I think maybe we can play with something simpler, like this kind of, maybe something like that. Not something complex really. So I'm going to unmute the click command. And I'm going also to show the changes in the chorus. I think it's going to be simpler this way, as you can see here in the piano roll. So I'm going just to record the second violins now. Sorry. Here. Something super simple, you know. I just didn't. Okay. It's a bit random, but I think it's going to work anyway, so not really worried about that. Let's go copying this layering this with the second violins here in area. Okay, and let's work now in the first violins from Berlin strings. Okay, so first violins, I just copied this patch of the second violins, copied here in the area library second violins patch. So, okay, let's go again with these two patches for reference in the piano roll. And let's record something for the first ones. Thank you, Synthworks. Happy to know you are enjoying this. Yeah, people wanted to just do something action, epic music, uplifting music. We had started something here, but I don't know how. Someone just mentioned maybe more complex. This mentioned something like 7/8 or just complex time signature. So just went with this one, but because these are different. The way I usually work with these time signatures is a bit different than typical ones. But it allows much interesting development in action music, especially, and these things. So this is so I'm going with the first violins, and probably just something, yeah, of course we are going to use some vocals on some choir, if that's what you mean. I'm going to use that later. So okay, let's just go with a click and also the basis for showing the changes in the chords. And I don't know, something like I don't know. Let's try something. Okay, I need to change the chord. I don't know, yes. Okay, let's tweak this a bit. No, actually it was right, because I was doing that kind of stuff. So we have just a problem here, I think. Yes, that's F, and it shouldn't be here. Okay, so we can just copy this in the... I was just confused. Copy this in the array violins first. And okay, probably it's time for... Let's try to add some choir. Choir, we have two options here, I would say. One is probably just accent the strong parts, like... Okay. That kind of... Or maybe we can go... kind of swells. So the effect is different, of course. One is probably more aggressive and the other one probably could be darker. Yeah, choir are really, really amazing, and I especially like these libraries from Stress of Sampling. Also, Lacrimosa by ATO is quite epic. It's great, but I think it's a bit less aggressive than if we just and these are just the main. We have also the female choir that works really nice too. So okay, I don't know, maybe we can also just go with something for the brass, maybe some French horns. French horns here, like sustains, maybe. Let's add there. And I think the horns can play easily this. That kind of swells. So, okay, maybe we just don't need the click anymore, and we can just focus on these other things. Plus, let's see, okay, yeah, this gives me an idea of the change of the chords. I'm going to record the horns, okay, doing swells, maybe. I took it too early. Okay. You know, this sounds weird because we are super slow tempo, but when we just put the faster tempo, this will sound much better, I think. Listen. Okay, I'm just reducing the volume of the first violins. I think they are a bit annoying there. Maybe it's because of the ostinato type, but maybe it's just because of the volume. Probably. What do you think about the choir? We should probably just accentuate the main parts of the time signature, or like these notes, or maybe we just help the horns and just do the swells as well with the choir. Maybe we can also go with the men choir doing the swells and female choir just doing the accents. Maybe we can just try that. Let's record the men choir doing the swells. So I'm going just to mute the let me just okay. So let's record the men choir doing the swells. Maybe. And probably we can go now with the female choir with Freya just doing the accents. I don't like actually, okay, I don't usually do word builder thing because I just prefer aleatoric syllables, mostly because it takes me a lot of time, and you know the final result is going not to be really different, I think, because most of these libraries just can't really sync anything with sense to most of people. So I don't know, it's like, yeah, you can maybe create something with these syllables, but I just don't like to spend time thinking about that. Sounds amazing, these choirs, I think. Let's record them, the female ones, okay? So I'm just going to put this, I'm going to try recording that in the fast tempo. So let's see. Okay, let me think a bit more. Okay. Okay, I think I'm going to do it just slower. It doesn't make sense just to complicate everything. It takes time to figure out the phonetics. It takes time for sure. I understand what you mean. Yes, that's the main reason. It's just I just prefer to spend time on other things maybe. But of course, if you like it, why don't? If you like it and you have the time, why not doing it? Okay. Okay, I changed the pattern in the end. So, okay. So if we go with the 170 tempo, I'm going also to double these low string shorts with low brush from the same library from Metropolis Arc, doing staccatos, I think. So let's see how this sounds all together. Okay, yeah. And of course we need to play to use much more percussion here. This is asking for it. So damage. I'm going to. This is just a kind of preset I created that sounds subtly bigger than the original one. Just tweaking a bit of EQ in the library, you know. And I just discovered that this patch of damage 1 is basically the same than the one with the same name in damage 2, but it works like 1 octave lower. So what I'm going to do is just copy these 3 patches of damage 2 in 3 different patches of damage 1 and load them all 1 octave. So they sound with similar sound but different library. I just don't know. It's a nice layering. Just if you want to try, in case you have these 2 libraries. Of course, this sounds too big now, but let's just reduce a bit. This kind of music is probably quite demanding in mixing techniques, I guess. So yeah, let's add also another damage 1, but this time I want here the metals. I think it's this one. Yeah. Yeah, of course, now computers allow many more things than before. They changed the way music is composed and produced today, I think. Okay, but we need to go probably with... I'm going just to mute this and go with the metron. With the click, sorry. You know, click in Spanish is metronomo. So that's why for some reason, I'm thinking constantly that in English it's called metronome. And, you know, these Spanglish things we create. Okay, so I'm going just to reduce the tempo to 88 again. And I'm going just to record just higher percussion, you know. To make percussion sound really big, one trick is just trying to fill all the frequencies in the spectrum. So not just low frequencies like we usually maybe do with percussion, which we all like big taiko sounds, super big boom, super low percussion. It sounds amazing, but if you really want to sound big, you need also high percussion. That one that sounds weak when you listen to it, but in the correct context and when you have all the other frequencies already being used, having high percussion always helps with making everything sound bigger. So that's why we are going to use it here. Let's go. More or less. And actually we can go with more things. I don't know, I think this library has some symbols or hi-hats maybe. Metals. Okay, we can maybe go with something like this. Also, another thing I usually do is when you have higher percussion, the higher the hits are, the faster they can go. So you can really, you can, but it's going to be much more difficult for you to create a clean, powerful percussion part if you go with something like, I don't know, like this, and you start doing super fast notes in that range. It's going to sound muddy for sure. Basically, you can do that but it's much easier if you just do these things. If you just go faster with the higher notes, and that applies to everything. It's like, and that's basically because of the length of the low frequencies of the waves. In the low frequencies, they are longer. So if you play many notes in the low frequencies, it's like the waves don't have time to end their I don't know how to say, come on, in English, but it's like in low frequencies, imagine this, imagine my course, my mouse is just like the waves, so they are longer, while in the higher frequencies they are much shorter, so they allow to play much notes because you can listen to the full wave. While if you play lots of notes in the lower frequencies, you don't have time to let each of the waves finish their movement. So it's that the reason basically is that. So that's why you can find runs to be usually created in violin. So but you don't usually listen to that here. It sounds muddy in comparison. You can really detect every note, while in violins you can. So it's the same here for percussion. So I don't know how this is going to work, but I'm going just to try recording this, okay, in the percussion. So let's see how this works. I'm going to remove the click. Okay, these are just accents, and I think they help with making punchier, the percussion puncher. So in this case, I'm going just to pan that, to tweak the panning and just put them into the left a bit. So let's add something else. I think maybe we can go with something super low. And I think here we had some sounds, kind of low enders. Something like that. Let's see. So if we go back to the original tempo, we have this. Okay, these are the metals, damaged metals. Damage 1 metals. Okay, damage 1, low Armageddon. You know, I tried to name everything correctly. So I have things easier later for horns, sustains, for the mix. Because yes, this kind of music is something that needs quite a good mix in order to work. Low Armageddon. Okay. Damage to mid Armageddon. Damage to high. So and for example, I would probably just bring this here and create a group with all the percussion I'm using. Create perk. Okay, come on. Just what did I do? This template is starting to be a bit big, also because of the latest. I want this. Percussion. Damage. Let's call it this way. So if we just play this percussion, we are going just to see how this sounds without anything else. Yes, when I solo instruments in this template specifically, everything starts going super slow. You mean David Michael Tardy? I know him. Yeah, I know him. I've talked to him many times. Yes, his music is pretty good. I think he especially I like his emotional music. If we are talking of the same guy, yeah, he's really good, and I like how he composes emotional music. So that's probably what I heard more of him, because he was actually, I think he's still there. He was working with Atom Music, which I was there too, and we had a platform there called Trello. Trello is used for many other things, I think, but there you can just you had to upload your album or whatever you were working on to that platform, and you could also hear what other composers were doing. And one of the favorite ones for me was David. he was doing always a great job, and he had also great ability to achieve a great sound. So yeah, I think he made a feature film recently. Okay, recently, maybe 2 years ago, something like that. And honestly, I just don't know what he is doing right now. It's like I just lost a bit the his work, but of course I sometimes I check him. I have it on Facebook. I also have it on Instagram, I think. So from time to time I just check what he's doing, and yeah, I agree. He does outstanding music. He's really good, a really good composer. I think his music is emotional and it touches people, which is probably the most important thing. Yeah, it may be because, usually I had some news in Facebook when, I don't know, I just don't use a lot social network, at least not in a personal way. I use a bit more Instagram, but as a professional profile. But yeah, sometimes when I checked Facebook, I usually had some David Michael Tardy has uploaded this and that, and you check that, and sometimes it was music, and yeah, it's true. I've been without seeing anything from him in a while, so but that's fine. We are not friends. I wouldn't call it that way because we didn't talk enough. But yeah, I like his music, and the times I talk to him, he seems like a great guy. So I only can say the good things about him. So okay, so we had this intro at first. We were just starting with that when this needs to be mixed because this is clipping constantly. So anyway, so it took a long time just to create this, but this is the way I usually just work with this kind of measures, time signatures. Sorry. So it's like, I don't know. Okay. So I don't know if you want to continue with the previous idea or we can try something different. Do you have any chain effects? Nothing at all. Nothing at all. As you can see, this is just the bass with the percussion we just created and no effects here. Okay, if I wanted to mix these things, first of all, I just would get all these things to audio. I would bounce these things to audio so I can import them in another project, new project. So I have much more resources in my computer because, this template is huge. It's kind of huge. It's not the biggest one I've seen. Like some people having thousands, literally thousands of instruments loaded, but it's like, I don't know, 500 more or less. And that takes quite a lot of RAM from my computer, so I just prefer to bounce this to audio and then I import everything in a new blank project so I can mix it. So actually we can maybe just mix this if you want. So as we just didn't have a real plan today, so actually I'm going just to remove everything else, okay? Everything we are not using. Okay. I don't know, what did I do? It's like I moved the percussion, but I didn't move the strings that we created and percussion and choir, but I just didn't move the... Okay, so let's copy that. And I'm going just to the... piano roll. Okay, let me copy that here. Okay, not here, but there. I think I have a problem here. I just made something weird. And now I need to... Yeah, I have an iMac Pro with 64 gigabytes of RAM. And... Okay, I think this is... And I think it has 8 cores at 3.2 gigahertz. Look. Yeah. So this is not really super powerful machine now, but I bought it a few years ago, and for what I'm doing, it works in 99% of cases, so not really worried about that. Of course, maybe when I have to change, probably there will be already the new Mac Pros they are talking about, and I hope to be able to change, because honestly I'm used to working in Mac, and changing to Windows is not a nice option. Also because I have many projects that I need to. It's like long-term projects, and I have to go back to previous projects of constantly. And if I change to a Windows PC, yeah, maybe I can get similar specs for much less money, but I can't use Logic, so it's like I wouldn't be able to go back to these projects and I need to do them. And also I can probably, it would be really a coincidence if I could just go to a Windows PC if I wanted, and just in the moment when I finish working on this project. So it's like probably I will be forced to continue with Mac in any case. So for the work I do is enough so far. So as long as the machine is working nicely, I'm not going to change if possible. Is 7 core, need to get a little more of RAM. How much RAM do you have? Just guess, what was your experience? I used in the past, but it wasn't also the Cubase Pro. It was just another. When I started, basically, I started using Cubase. So it was a few years ago, and honestly, I can't talk about Cubase with enough knowledge just to be objective. I just don't know Cubase enough to compare it in an objective way with Logic. But honestly, I think one of the less important things usually is the DAW you use, but what you use, what you do with it. It's like the best DAW, I think, is what adapts better for you. I think we were talking about this the other day. If Cubase is something you like or you feel comfortable working in, then why not? I just prefer the way Logic looks. Also, it's like more intuitive to me, easier to understand at first, like when you just have it in front of you. But of course, many people just use Cubase because it has many good features for soundtracks, for film work, I think, more than other DAWs. But I just don't know Cubase enough just to say something about it in an objective way. I know much better how to use Logic than Cubase. So yeah, probably I can tell you what I like, what I don't like of Logic, but not about Cubase, honestly. So okay, let's just. I think we have everything already. Let's just. Yeah, Reaper. Also, I just never used Reaper, so I don't know almost anything about it. But yeah, of course, that it's free or almost free, I think, right? And also, okay, we need to copy this here. Sorry, I'm just trying to. Come on. Low strings, low. Where is this? Okay, this. I'm sorry, I'm just talking while doing this. I can talk a lot about Reaper either because I've never used that one. But yeah, I heard that it's super customizable. Like you can just prepare it in the way you want it for you, and also you have lots of templates to visual templates, right? Like you can see Reaper and it can look completely different depending on the user. So yeah, and also if it's super cheap and or even free for some people, like they want to be in the test period constantly, right? Or they just don't do commercial work, so they don't feel like they need to buy it. That's fine, it's great that there is some programs like that. I think it allows many more people just to use these things, and that means much more music is done. Okay, let's see. I'm just going to bring this here. So no, come on. What did I do? Okay, anyway, I just don't want to. Okay, I want to bring everything here to the start because this way the audio files that I get when exporting, when bouncing everything to audio, are much smaller. So that's the reason why I'm doing this. It's not any other thing. So okay, but then we have to do this correctly, and we need to bring that. Okay, we are in the correct place. I think we just need to do this here. Okay. I think now. Okay, so now I'm going just to get all these files as audio files. So I'm going just to create something, a folder in my desktop, like percussion mix. Let's call it this way. This means that if I just created any kind of automatization of volume or just the balance, it's going to keep it. So I always select this, okay? And it's going just to export it in 48 kilohertz because that's the frequencies I had in my project. So let's bounce this all to audio files. And now we are going just to work on the mix for this, okay? This is pretty simple. So I think we can just, once we get this in audio, we can just work a bit on it. So we can maybe just make it sound better. I hope so. Okay, so I'm going just to save this too. Just percussion mix, just in case. I don't know. Okay, so let's reduce this, and I'm going to quit Logic completely. Okay, because this way RAM gets free again. If not, it's going to be still used by Logic. So now I'm going just to open a new project of Logic. Okay, I want it to be blank. Okay, now can you listen to me? I think now you can, or you should at least. Okay, so let's import this here. Okay, so if I play this, okay, and you can also hear the percussion, right? Okay. Okay, as you can see here, I have some audio that has numbers before, and these are the groups in my template. So I can mute this. Okay, I'm going to remove this because that was the default audio. So I'm going to mute these ones because these are the groups. So here, for example, I can see all the Berlin strings together, but they are not mixed between them. So I want to mix the different individual patches, okay? So another thing I'm going to do is, okay, I'm going to put this here so you can also, if I go here, you can see the mixer here, okay? So I usually try to make a group of all of these guys. Even when I don't use them, I just create, come on, I create a group and call it unused. Just in case I have to go with some of them, I just prefer not to remove them, you know, reduce their size. And I start creating groups. In this case, we only have short strings. So I usually just create a group for each, for all the strings together. I just don't separate between libraries because I don't feel I need that. They are all doing the same. This is our brush, but these are string short strings. And here we have violas, violins. So I'm going to create a group here, and these are strings, short strings. Okay. Now I'm going to do just the same with the percussion. So this is all percussion, this is percussion 2, this is percussion 2, and this is the group that we are going to include in the unused folder. So this is perc, and let's just move this. You know, this is the group of the percussion all together, so this sounds with all the percussion. This is exported with the effects I had in my template. I usually add reverb and things when I'm composing because I like to know what I want, and usually when I mix, I just want to adapt everything. I know some people just apply all the effects later when they are mixing, so they just export everything without automatization, without effects. But to me, it's like adding more work to me, especially if I'm the one composing and mixing the music. So, but you know, it depends. Also, I mixed time ago a documentary film for another composer, and you know, he sent me everything without effects. But he had super clear what kind of effects he wanted, so it was kind of not useful thing. I asked him just to send me things with the effects he wanted. If he had clear what he wanted, if he wanted this kind of reverb, this kind of delay, this kind of compression here or there, but especially reverb and automatization, and if he had that clear, why did he remove that? Because come on, I wasn't going to understand the music in the same way he did because he was the one composing it. I don't know. Anyway, I just prefer just to get the effects from the composition process in the mix already applied, so I just can focus on make everything sound better, but not just applying artistic effects, because I think many of those effects like reverbs and delay, and they can also be part of the composition process, like they change the idea often. So if the composer has that clear, I just prefer to have that in the files I get for the mix. In this case, this is not a problem in any case because I just made this myself. So, okay, so this would be choir, and these are the brass. Okay, usually I would have added much more brass, like tuba. Even when we have it here, I would probably have separated this in bass trombones, contrabass trombones, and tuba, and probably trombones too, and it would sound probably bigger, but you know, this is just an idea, and that's all. It was just to clarify how I usually work on on these kind of passages with weird, not weird, but complex time signatures. Okay, so let's go with bases. So yeah, people usually say that it's better just to mix each individual thing in the context, like not isolating each of one, not putting in solo and listen to. So you can. They say it's better always just to do it in the context. So, but I just found that to me what it works better is just to work on each instrument individually first, so I can detect resonances if I'm not hearing them directly. So okay, there is a phone there. And then when I have this sounding clear, I listen to this in context and try to detect if it's interacting in a bad way. So I like to usually add some air to the strings. There is a phone in the room next to mine, and as this needs to hear pretty well, I need to wait until the phone stops. Yes, these plugins are amazing. Honestly, they are really great. And this is just an EQ. You could use, I don't know, maybe isotope, equalizer. This is also good, but I prefer this one in this case. Okay, phone finished. So I'm going just to create a loop here so I can listen to everything constantly without need to work on the. Okay. Maybe, and it's dynamic EQ, so. Yeah, exactly, dynamic mode. Okay, so I usually do this with each of the instruments. So, for example, the telly. Let's load the Pro Q3. Do you listen the resonance? And probably here it's only muddy things. Let's add some air. Okay, I think this sounds. Okay, so let's go with the violas. Do you listen the resonance, right? And I'm not even making it. second violins here. It really helps control the transients and prevent sounds from cluttering up the mix. Very nice plugin tool for sure. Yes, I use it all the time, you know. The usually this first mounting, we can call that way, is the main note, so these are the harmonics. So usually we probably won't want to touch this one, but better work on the other ones. So that's why probably it's better just to cut here. And probably just a bit there, but not touch here, because this is going to make the sound much weaker. First violins. Same first note, first two notes, because as you remember we were doing here some octaves like dun 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 dun. So looks like these two are the fundamental ones, and we can probably need to work here. You know, I just don't want to get super crazy with this, you know, so as long as it sounds more or less well. And actually, you know, this is just something like I should go to jail for this, but I'm going just to try to keep it fast, quick. So I'm just copying the cue from the aria in the Berlin strings one. This shouldn't be done, okay? So don't do this at home, as they say. Okay, I just made some mistakes. This is the things that you shouldn't do. Okay, so I think I'm going just to repeat it. Okay, I'm going just to work on the Metropolis shorts. These ones. Okay. More or less, you know. And now, yes, I'm going just to copy. This is something shouldn't do. This is something you shouldn't really do. Okay, so, you know, this is not the way to do anything well. But in this case, I just want it to be faster. So, yeah. Okay, let's work on the choir now, because we only have two different patches, so. I think this might be. And probably we want the women choir to stand out a bit over the main one. So we can, of course, just reduce the volume to reduce the volume of these guys a bit. But probably the best way is going just to add. Okay, I'm going to do it with this one. Okay, it's just the same. I'm going to add some to remove some frequencies with sidechain. Just selecting the female choir as the one sending this EQ to be reduced. I'm not sure how to explain that better. It's like when the female choir are playing at the same time as the main choir play, the main choir are going to be affected by this EQ. So this is going to low down while the female choir sing. So that gives more space for the female choir, and they will sound. Look. This is when the female sing. Okay, so that's the idea. And let's do the same with the brush. Let's work with the horns. You know, this looks like they are probably clipping here and there or there, but this is just because we have the zoom in the waves, so nothing is clipping. I think I don't like that. One second, please. 1 second. I'm sorry, guys. Someone just called to the door just to give me a paper. So, okay, we are back. So we were working on the horns. Just trying to remove some resonances. And this is like quite nasal, like I don't know. I usually try to remove there or even until 4,000 hertz in brass. It sounds a bit nasal to me, so just try to reduce there a bit. So let's see with this, the Metropolis Arc 5 brass staccato, low brass. You know, low brass, usually the instruments are a bit far in the orchestra, so I try to reduce a bit the high end in order just to make them sound a bit far, not as close as horns, for example. Horns, I'm not sure if we add it. Yeah, I like to add some air always to the horns, but to trombones, tuba, bass trombones, etc., I try to do the opposite, just to make them sound a bit more far, not as close as other instruments. So. Okay, around this. Okay, more or less, you know, I'm not going to get crazy with this. I think we can do the same thing we did with the choir here. Just reduce the horns, sustains, when the low brass attacks. So this is going to be the one causing the... Okay, so now we can go with percussion. Okay, so usually I just find that this area between 100, 300 hertz is probably the most problematic one, especially with low percussion. It's where you can find really muddy sound, and you need to clean this. But you need to be careful, because if you clean too much, it's going just to make it sound weaker. So you need to be a bit careful. So this is low percussion. You can also add some let's reduce a bit there. Okay, this is the mid. Okay. So this is the low. I think I'm going. Okay. It looks like we just named them incorrectly. This sounds like more... this sounds lower than this. Look. Wait. How can I make this? Come on. Okay, let's mute this just to compare. Okay, so this is what I call low, and this is what I called mid. It sounds lower for me. I don't know. Well, let's do, my friend. Thank you for... Thanks, man. Yes, it was nice to see you here. Happy to have you here. And yes, of course, you just come whenever you want, okay? Have a good night, a good day, you too. Niran, hi. we are here just composing, not composing right now, but trying to make a short passage we created before sound well. So we were just working on a super fast mix just to make it sound well. So this. This is low, and this is mid. Okay, so mid. We need to tweak this, I think. Okay, I am high. This is the high one. I just don't care about this because we already have this area filled with the other percussion layers. So here I just want the highest part to be the important one. And probably I just don't want to remove his, even when it's probably can remove a bit close to it, but not there exactly. And we can just compensate a bit, just increasing the frequencies at other points. Okay. Let's go with this. Okay, here it happened again. This is hike, and this is mid. Okay, let's go with the low percussion from Armageddon 2. Of course, I recommend hearing this in headphones or at least studio monitors if you have, but definitely not in a mobile phone or a laptop or something like that, because things like this are probably you can't hear anything here. If not, this is quite low. But it's easy to listen to if you are listening in headphones or studio monitors, you know. So mid. These are mid frequencies. I don't want to remove here probably. You know, the problem removing in the first harmonics here is that, yeah, of course you affect the sound a lot, but at the same time you are making the sound weaker. So often it's better just to avoid that first mountain, let's call it that way, and just affect close to it, a close area to it. So it gets affected, but it's subtle. It's more subtle change. So you don't lose as much presence in the sound. So this one is the one we don't really want to touch. It sounds okay. It sounds okay. Low Armageddon is something we already worked on. Hike. Same as before. I don't care about these parts because this is already filled with other patches. Okay, so metals. First, I think I need to reduce the volume here. It's a bit too loud. And here is the same, you know. I want to focus on the highest part. Lots of... And this is just... Okay. Again, we don't want to touch this. This is like the main mountain of this sound, so if we just touch this, we will low all the low end. It's adding all the power in the low frequencies. It's adding. We probably can just cut here. We don't want that. Okay. And these things. Let's reduce a bit, and let's add here some high end. Okay, so now we are going to have problems with the low patches and this one. So I think this one might be more important because also it only plays when we start its different chord. So I think this is important one. This is important. So what I'm going to do is just go with low patches of percussion, and I'm going just to add something like this, okay, this kind of filter, and I'm going just to add sidechain. So when the low enders patch, which is this one here, plays, this EQ is going to affect the other two low Armageddon patches. So they are not going to have a big conflict with this one when playing in this area, you know. So I'm going to do the same here to this other one. Let's add a similar filter. Sidechain, external, and low enders here. And I'm not sure if this one too, because this one looks like has, yeah, lots of information there. So I'm going to do the same, you know. So it only affects when we have these hits. As you can see, only when this plays, this starts working. So that's the idea, okay? So the percussion right now sounds like this. Which is not clipping so far. Okay, so it sounds quite good. We can add some other things. Of course, we can add more EQ to the group. We can also add probably, let's add something else like multi-band compressor, and we are going just to expand, okay, the highest parts. So we change here to expand. We just adapt the range. We want it to go higher. It's important just to put the attack and release there, just to 0% when we are expanding, and let's tweak the threshold. Without, as you can see, it gives extra punch to the percussion. When we activate it. With it sounds punchier. And you know, when we select this free mode, we can select like an area of the group, in this case the percussion, that we want to shoot this expansion. So if we, for example, only want the high percussion just to get that extra punch when the low percussion is hitting, we can probably just select this area. So when the low percussion works between the 50 Hertz and the 200 Hertz, when we have big hits here, depending on the threshold also, we are going to get this high percussion just more prominent. So and also, just to avoid some kind of problems here, we are going to add a limiter, and I think this one is quite transparent. We can just use the punchy algorithm, and let's adapt here. No, it's not saturator, it's just an expansor, if you are referring of this. Or you mean you are proposing to use a saturator? I was going to use it later in the, probably in the master. Sometimes, not often, use a black box here, like this one. Plugin Alliance. This one. This is a saturator, and it sounds amazing. You know, it's incredible. But it's maybe too much. I don't know. As you see, the effect it creates is incredible. Without, so okay, we have here this. So we have everything together. So to me, this is too much right now in the percussion. It's like we only have the percussion, and that's why I think it would be too much, that saturator. It sounds like more I don't know, balanced this way to me. Yeah, of course, sometimes I use it too. I agree. It's sometimes it helps a lot, especially trailer music probably, to make the percussion just stand out even more. So I think you were during the process. You were here, Ricardo, during the process of creating them because we did it before. With the 7/4. Yeah, we have here this signature time signature, but the real thing is that this is written in 7/4. So that's what I meant with super interesting rhythm for the percussion and action music is usually usually benefits a lot from these time signatures. Yeah, it's not probably the most common rhythm. It doesn't. It works nice. So I just added some negative gain just to be able to listen to everything better. So I'm going just to add some EQ in the master channel. And I usually like to increase the low end. Of course, another thing that you can, and you probably should or will help you, is a multimeter. I think every DAW house has something like this. Cubase has some plugins, native plugins. I'm sure any DAW has something like this plugin, and this will show you the phase problems, if any. It will show you also the frequencies of the project. So this is like the last plugin I use because it doesn't affect the sound at all. Okay, and this is just like a visual reference. Of course, it's always better if you mix with your ears, but you know, any help, if it helps, it's good to have. So this is just an analyzer, like a multimeter. So for example, we can see here we have probably not enough hikes because usually we want this to be more or less uniform. Like we don't want big mountains like this. That usually doesn't work as in a whole project, you know. We want something that is kind of uniform, I don't know. So okay, this probably won't be heard in mobile phone, laptops, or in also in the mastering, the changes you should be doing in the EQ shouldn't be too big. If you need to do big changes in the EQ, like many dBs, maybe you should go back to the mix. Okay, so usually I just like to add some Pultec EQ style which is just a Q, because of the kind of curves it does. So I'm going just to boost a bit the low end, and I'm going to select here this, and I'm going just to attenuate it a bit too. So something like this. They need to be close usually to create the right effect. Okay, so I want the bandwidth here to be pretty big, and let's do the same with the high frequencies. So usually I think for this kind of spectra that I saw, this could work. It's subtle, of course. Okay, this is subtle, okay, but it's there. So another thing, I think we can go now with the black box. And now we can add another, where is this? This transparent. I'm going just to put the attack and release at 0%. Probably after the limiter, just to avoid any kind of clipping that the saturation could be creating, I'm going just to add Soothe, this plugin here. This is like a dynamic remover of resonances. It works pretty smoothly. I like it, so I'm just going to use it in this way because this is mastering and I just want to remove any possible resonance we have. But I'm going just to apply it at something like 40%, something like that, and to make it even smoother. I just want it to be super subtle. So here by pass we will hear how was the track at this point without this plugin, and in delta we can listen to what is the plugin actually removing. So let's listen. This is removing, which are resonances. It's super subtle, okay, but the difference in the end is there, you know. So, okay. And I don't know, maybe we can just go with typical isotope ozone 9 after these things. Let's go here. And let's see what the assistants tell us. I think we are going to have big problems here. Let's see. Okay, transient. That's not let's see. Well, not too bad. It just removed a bit of bases and added a bit of high end. Okay, not too bad. Anyway, just a trick here, just to set the level of the maximizer, of the limiter in the mastering, is just linking these two parameters and just start going down with them. So whenever you hear distortion, that's the limit. You can't really go. You can't really. You can do whatever you want, but you probably shouldn't just go downer with the threshold later. So let's go with this. That's what I mean. This is super distorted, okay? But there is a limit where distortion just disappears. But if you go a bit more, it appears. So that's the maximum limit you will have. Okay, I think there we have a nice. Here we also usually have the short-term volume we get. So. Okay, probably we could. Anyway, let's go with a stereo, imager stereo. Let's go with, I don't know, this more or less. And I usually just separate in 4 different parts. One is for the low end. I usually take it 100 and lower, between 100 and 300. Then the mid high and the high end. Okay, so I usually tend to just reduce the image in the low, in the bass frequency. So if you, because if not, you will hear this creates problems, you know, phase problems. So it's better just to reduce it. You don't need to make it mono, but you can just see, you just can try to control it a bit. Okay. You can do something similar here, but of course not as much. And the opposite. Okay, so just the last thing I would do here is probably just activate the deezer, which is kind of noise, and putting in the bit depth. We are going just to sport, and we are working. So we are working on 2448. So that's the number to set, and I don't change anything here. So that's it. Transient. So that would be how I would leave this right now, I think. Of course, this can be improved quite a lot if you just take mm, more detailed care of everything in the mix. If you start checking if you need compression here, there, for example, probably here we need compression. Maybe not, but you know what I mean, right? It's just you need to take care of many more things. We just made something super fast here just to make this sound better than it was sounding in the DAW when we were composing it. So I think it sounds okay now. It sounds more or less clear. It has power, but of course this could improve. And actually, the reason why we are not really getting super big, I don't know, super big volume here, because usually here you can get even to -6 loops. And we are around 9, 8, 9. Okay, -7. You know, -7.5, something like that. I saw there, but you know, if you really mix it well, you can get much bigger volume, much louder volume, which is always. I mean, music is not better because it has higher volume. I don't think that way, but you know, this in these styles where everything always sounds super big, super loud, it's important that you sound big. That's not going to make your music better than others, but only because of that, I mean. But it's going to get a better impression in the person listening to it, especially if they are just listening to different tracks in the same style constantly and they are comparing to see which one is the best for their project. And if they have to turn the volume on, it's not a good sign. It's not good for you. They are not going to like it as much as other track that sounds louder, even if it's worse track than yours musically. So that's the reason and why there is a stupid war of volumes, I think. It's like our brain unconsciously detects like something is sounding better when they sound louder. So that's, as I said, not true, unless I didn't find that's true at all. But it's important just to have at least a minimum, you know. You can also sacrifice volume just in order to get a better low end, for example, or some other things in the mix, but that's just another kind of decisions. And you usually, when you usually can decide these things, you are already working with a super nice volume level. So anyway, of course I'm not a mixing engineer. That's something that I would like just to also say. So I guess if someone who really knows what they do here is watching this, is going to probably, I don't know, call the police or something just to make me go to jail. That's fine, okay. That's it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. It was already actually almost 3 hours, so quite long. I hope to see you in the next one, okay? I will be busy later today, so probably won't be able to get online here, but I hope another day during this week is possible and we can just maybe create something like the other day. Like what we were saying before, like something epic, emotional, or epic dark, anything like that. So I hope you enjoyed it, and no, thank you, Ricardo, for being here, and I hope you found it interesting. So see you in the next one. Goodbye.